that your family has been doing, that you haven't been able to be present for because you've been working, right? So we're going to go ahead and kick this thing off. I'm not going to read that many of the I'm so happy and grateful nows, because at the end of the day, the I'm so happy and grateful now is for you. So I'm so happy and grateful now that I am happy and healthy. I'm so happy and grateful now for my retired and 365 family, and happy and grateful now that I earn 100K a week. I'm so happy and grateful now that I am becoming the highest version of myself. I'm so happy and grateful now. Oh, this is awesome looking audio. Yes, Andre, I think you got it like the first day, okay? Plugged in. I'm so happy and grateful for the good things that are happening for me and my family. I'm so happy and grateful now that this week will be my biggest trading week. Awesome. I'm so happy and grateful now to be in alignment, to be the second millionaire in my family. Awesome, 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 awesome. I go ahead and celebrate all you guys for everything that you are going to accomplish. I'm so happy and grateful now that I vibrate on the level of everything that I say that I want, right? I am so happy and grateful now that I do not entertain any energy that is not conducive to my success. I'm so happy and grateful now that I am 100% unbothered because I know what is ahead of me. I'm so happy and grateful now to be connected with you all. I'm so happy and grateful now that elevation is occurring in mind, body, spirit, in all of us. Bank accounts, belief, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and get right into it. I'm not gonna ask you to unmute just yet. I might at the end, but however the Lord leads me, and I'm actually going to do this because he's leading me to do this. At the end of the day, I wanna say this: your belief is your belief, but I'm gonna be myself always and talk about what I believe in, and you can apply it to your life as well. And I believe in God. So I'm gonna say a prayer real quick. Dear Heavenly Father, I just thank you for today. I thank you for being the ultimate creator that continues to equip us, strengthen us, and give us divine revelation of what it is that you need. I ask that what is said today pricks the hearts of those that need it most. I ask that you hide me behind you. And I also ask that you bless the words that are coming out of my mouth, and that it is received in a manner that is going to invoke change, that is going to invoke revelation, that is going to invoke action, impeccable execution, and that everything that we want because of these steps is already theirs according to your will. In the name of Jesus, amen. Okay, so I've been studying Stormy. They say find somebody that you admire, find somebody that has success, right? And study them. So she's in the network marketing space, but she is not in our business. But at the end of the day, success is success, right? Period. I am going to take the meat, spit out the bones. Chew the meat, spit out the bones. I even like a little fat, but I'm gonna chew the meat, spit out, like I'm not going to get so caught up in, well, I am not gonna listen to this person because they look a certain way. See, a lot of times we are missing our blessings and we won't get on calls because of a certain thing that somebody might say, but you're missing the whole point of what it is that they're saying, right? So that's step number one. So for people that do not come to these calls consistently, for whatever the reason is, you have to get in the habit and get in the practice of listening to things that are going to benefit you and eating the meat, spitting out the bones, right? Because if they have achieved the level of success that you want, you may not want to adopt everything that it is that they do. And Alex Morton said this on one of his calls. You may not want to adapt everything that they might do in their personal life, right? But that does not take away from the greatness that they've achieved. That does not take away from the value that comes out of their mouth, right? So I've been studying Stormy, and what I love about her is I hear her story. So when you guys listen to what it is I'm about to say, just start thinking about what it is that you're going through and start asking yourself, where's the excuse, right? Because I was listening to her this morning and everything that I'm about to say is from her own mouth. And mind you, I've been studying her for a while. She has characteristics and traits, and she's the complete opposite of what some people might say that I am, but she just has so much value. So her story is, very briefly before I get into it, is at the end of the day, and you guys are going to be mind blown. Mind you, let me say this. She's a very very highly paid income earner in this space, in the network marketing space, right? Okay, she is a millionaire, right? It is a rags to riches story, but it's phenomenal, honestly, because again, what is your excuse, right? Her mom sold drugs when she was little, right? She was in foster care for 3 years. She became a stripper at 13 years old, right? And continued stripping because she got pregnant at 15, right? So mother was a drug dealer. She was in foster care for 3 years. She became a dancer at the age of professional dancer, whatever you like to call it. She became a dancer at the age of 13. You're probably thinking, what? How can that happen at 13? Well, she got pregnant at 15. So she had to continue dancing to be able to take care of her son. Why? Because she dropped out of school in the 9th grade. You look today, she's a millionaire, right? But these are the things that she's gone through at an early stage, right? And I wanted to pick somebody that was relevant because a lot of times we'll look at people from back in the day and say, oh yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and, Javon. Anyways, but a lot of times we can look at people from back in the day and say, well, they had no formal high school education. Well, a lot of times back in the day, just because of how history is, a lot of people weren't allowed to study, right? A lot of people, because of how the family dynamic was, it wasn't important for them to do certain things because they had to get a job. So it's easy to be able to say, well, this person went on to be great 200, 100, 60, 70 years ago. But in 2021, you might be thinking, well, that's just not possible. Times have changed, right? But here it is, Stormy Wellington, mind you, she's only 40 years old. She's only 40 years old and she went through all that. And how could she have possibly become a millionaire today? How could she have possibly been able to create over 20 other millionaires in this space, right? How has she been able to be herself 100%? 100%. And become a millionaire, right? See, the myth is that you have to fit into a cookie cutter mold. You have to speak a certain way, right? You have to dress a certain way, right? You have to come from a certain background. You have to do all these different things, but at the end of the day, being the best version, okay? Not just any version, but being the best version of yourself, no matter how that was designed, and it's going to look different from me. That's why we all have different fingerprints, right? That's why our DNA, even when we come from our parents, there's some things that are a little different. Why? Because we were all created to be ourselves. So now when you pour that into what it is that you're doing, whatever it is that you want to be successful in, there is no stopping you. So how could a woman that went through that become a millionaire today? Why? Because you don't become a millionaire when you get the money. You become a millionaire when you have the mindset. Because it doesn't matter what you go through. You can make $1 million, you can lose it. You can win the lottery, get $1 million, and you can lose it. But one thing that you can do, right? When you have the millionaire mindset, no matter if you lose it, you'll get it back. No matter if you lose it, you'll get it back. No matter if something goes on in your life, you're gonna get it back. It doesn't matter who tries to stop you. You're gonna blow through them. So you don't become a millionaire when you get the money, you become a millionaire when you have the mindset. And I say this all the time, and this was confirmation. This was confirmation because I say this all the time. What I say all the time is that, what do I say? I'm getting all riled up, y'all. What I say all the time is that, you can make the money, but can you sustain it? That is where having the millionaire mindset actually makes you a millionaire before you actually get the money. So how has somebody that has gone through all that been able to be on top of her game? Not because she tried it once and then automatically was on top. No, right? Her life was a series of just, I'm gonna win, period. She tells this story, right? She became a millionaire and lost it more than once. but she was able to get it again, right? And she tells this story about how she went to Georgia. She's actually from New York, but she lived in Miami most of her life. And she went to Atlanta. And Atlanta, she had never seen so many people that looked like her. And if you know, so many people that looked like her that were doing so well, right? Being from Miami, people were doing well, but it was a lot of like, culturally it was different. Just like me from California, culturally it's different than being in Georgia, like huge culture shock. Even Florida, huge culture shock, right? Like I like to say, California is its own country, like it's not even in the United States. But yes, Coach Stormy Chanel, I know you watch her, but she, what was I saying? See, I'm all riled up. I be forgetting my train of thought. So Stormy Wellington became a millionaire more than once and lost it all. And she tells this story about how she came to Atlanta. She saw so many people that looked like her that were having success. And she made the decision in her mind, right? If they could do it, I could do it. If I see that they have it, I can have it. Why can't that be me, right? Why can't that be me? I don't care that I may have gone through some things early in my life. I don't care that I may not have graduated traditionally like everybody else. I don't care that I may not have gone through the same family dynamic and got pregnant at an early age. I don't care that that happened. If they did it, I can do it. So she went back home to Miami. She had a jar of change. She took her change. She went and cashed it out. She had $135 and said, I'm moving to Georgia, moved to Atlanta. The rest is history. Went through trial and error, right? Got a job. She tells the story about, and this just goes to show that, and again, I'm just going to be honest with you. You could take it how you want it. This just goes to show at the end of the day, your employer cares about the company, cares about who they have to answer to more than you. 9 times out of 10, if they have to choose between the two, you're getting the pink slip and the company is going to do what it needs to do in order to stay afloat, right? Because that's their baby and you can't be mad at them for it. The owner of the company, they have to sustain that business. So what do you have to do? So she tells a story about going to this company, right? And she tells the guy, just give me a chance. Just give me a chance. On paper, it didn't look like she should do it. Give me a chance. He gave her a chance, gave her all of the trash cases. It was collections. She was able to collect over $1 million over the course of 7 months on closed cases that they said, like, whatever. On closed cases, went to the boss. He said, you know what? You deserve a raise. 2 months went by. He came back to her and said, because you did so well, we're going to give you a 25-cent raise. It was like 25 or 50 cents. Because you did so well, we're going to give you a 25 or 50-cent raise. But I just collected $1 million in closed cases that you weren't even trying to collect in less than a year. And all you're going to give me is a 25-cent raise. So she went to that boss and told him, keep your raise, don't put it on my check. But she didn't quit. She went back to her desk and prayed. Keep the raise. 25 cents, what is that going to do? If it's a part-time job, that's an extra $1 a day. If it's a full-time job, what? That's extra $2 a day? She said, keep that 25 cents. I'm going back to my desk. God, please, I know that there's something else out there. Lo and behold, she kept going. Made another million, lost it. Made another million, lost it. Got introduced to network marketing, and it's been up from there. But what I love about her story is, again, after you heard everything that she went through, and this isn't for you to answer for me, this is to answer for you. After you heard everything that she went through, what is your excuse? Is there an excuse? See, when my mentors call me and they talk about, or when they ask me, how come you didn't do this? Half the time, I don't even want to give an answer. It's not because I don't have an answer. It's because the answer is not valid to me, even to me, as to why I didn't do something. Right? So I'm not even going to tell you why I didn't do it half the time. It's like, you're right, I should have did it. Because at the end of the day, there is no legitimate excuse that I will be able to tell my kids as to, sorry, mommy can't do this for you because I didn't do what I needed to do before you got here. Right? I can't take my legitimate excuses If my mother is sick in the hospital and nobody can pay her bill, and say, mother, I'm sorry, I can't help you because I didn't do what I knew I had to do. And let me tell you how much you know what you have to do because you're here. We can't use the excuse of what our parents didn't teach us, because now that you have a teacher, now that you have an instructor, now that you have a tutor, if they could do it, why can't you? If she can do it, why can't you? If David and Monique can do it, why can't you? Right? If China Bethley can do it, why can't you? If Meg can do it, why can't you? If Paris Simmons can do it, why can't you? If Bryce Thompson can do it, why can't you? If Alex Morton can do it, why can't you? I'll tell you the only reason why you won't be able to do it is if we continue to allow ourselves to have legitimate excuses that at the end of the day are not gonna legitimately get us out of the situation that we find ourselves in, right? So going on. Drop some fire emojis in the chat if you're catching value, right? One thing that I love that she said is you have to become your own best friend. Because when you find those times, being an entrepreneur, yes, we have each other on a Zoom, but when you're by yourself and you're around your family, when they're not doing what it is that you do, are you your best friend? Excuse me, are you your best friend? How are you speaking to yourself? Are you your best friend? Right? We all have that one friend that we can call and talk to. Mine is my mother. I mean, I have friends too, but literally, she knows everything. If there was ever to be an autobiography written about me, just go to my mother. She will know everything, okay? But you have to become your own best friend, right? A lot of times we are seeking advice from other people that we call our best friends, but they're not in the situation that we're in. This is why you have to become your own best friend. You have to learn in those times how to comfort yourself, right? You have to learn in those times to tell yourself it's 8 o'clock. At your old job, you used to get up at 7. Why are you still sleeping till 8? Right? Don't do more for others than you would do for yourself. Don't do more to build other people's dreams than you would do for yourself. Become your own best friend. Right? The person that's going to say, girl, boy, get out your feelings. Because at the end of this day, this success journey is not about feelings. Success is not about how you feel. Success is about your will. What is your willpower? Get your feelings out of it. What is your willpower on this success story? When you become your best friend, what are you speaking to yourself? Are you the strong version of yourself that you're looking for in other people that aren't doing what you're doing? You become that person. How do you become that person? Finding the top earners in your field and mirroring what they do. Finding the top earners in your field and speaking to yourself what you see. Because when you're alone in a room, when you're alone and not on the Zoom, when you're on that chart by yourself, right? Who's going to be speaking? The person that didn't have the results? Or because you found somebody that has the results and you are now starting to internalize what success looks like, what success feels like, who success is. So now when you're alone, you're speaking the correct things. You don't need to get on a Zoom in order to hear the right things all the time. Why? Because you've heard it enough that you're speaking it to yourself. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't get on those Zooms, because there's times when I've gone the whole day and I'm just like, oh, I'm trying to talk myself out of it. I'm saying my affirmations. I'm looking in the mirror. I'm looking in the mirror, right? I'm doing all that. But there have still been times where I call Paris, Siobhan, and say, yo, this is how I'm feeling. Say something to me. I need something. I've tried this. I've tried that. That doesn't mean that you aren't going to have support, right? But the most important things that you can hear are the words that you speak to yourself. But how do you know what to say to yourself if you haven't experienced or gained what it is that you want? By finding the top earners, studying them, speaking it, internalizing it, seeing if they're doing what I'm doing. If they have it, why can't I? If not, why can't I? If they have it, I can have it too, period. That's them, this is me. They're successful, I'm successful too. So when you're alone by yourself, that same conversation continues to go on, right? So success is more about your will, right? Than how you necessarily feel. And I'm going to prove it to you. I'm going to read the definition, right? And how do we know success is more about our will and not how we feel? Why? Because when your body says, I'm tired, you have the will to keep going. If you work more than one job and you get off and your body says, you know what, I'm too tired to study or get on that call, what is your will going to tell you to do? Right? If there's a bill in your house that gets cut off, are you going to let how you feel take control? Or is your will going to take over and you're going to do whatever's necessary to keep it pushing? Why? Because you see in your mind what you want and you don't want to live the rest of your life settling for what you just get. Right? So, where's it at? 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 Okay, so what is willpower, right? According to most psychological scientists, willpower can be defined as the ability to delay gratification, right? So it's not about how you feel, because if you did everything that you feel, you would not be delaying gratification. And that's honestly why a lot of us get into the things that we're in, right? That's why we leave this business. That's why we talk about it. That's why we have those feelings, because the delayed gratification. You're not hitting that trade right away. So it doesn't work. I'm not getting my person because I spoke to 5 people. So it just doesn't work, right? I've been here a year. I haven't had my breakthrough. So it doesn't work. What I love about Amber is she never gave up. And she even said, she's just now having her breakthrough. She just hit her year. Could you have your breakthrough in your first month? Could you have your breakthrough in 90 days? Absolutely. She just went P150. Does that mean that she's late to the party? No. Her will took over and not how she felt. Right? So, the willpower response is a reaction to your internal conflict, right? What is your internal conflict? When you have to decide, I'm going to have this now because it's going to make me feel good, or I'm not going to have it now because down the road I can have more, right? My car is old, but it still runs, no payments, but it's a little older. It might not be as shiny, right? I'm not saying this is just a example, right? And I really, really, really want this Mercedes. Old car, not as shiny, but I really, really want this Mercedes. But here it is, something in between, and I have the money to buy this now, and it's going to be new. And if I wait to buy this Mercedes, it might take me a few extra months. It might take me another year. Mind you, what I currently have could very well hold up for the next year, but I could get that later. Let me just settle for something that's new and shiny. What is your willpower like? Will you wait the extra time to get what it is that you really want, to get what it is that you designed? Or are you going to settle based on what you feel because of something that seems a little bit above what you currently have? If that's the point, what's the point of writing your goals? If you're going to settle for anything that is short of what it is that you spoke. And let me let you know, if you spoke it, that means God put it into your heart. The only reason that you gave up on it is because in your mind, when you became your BFF, you weren't speaking that it's possible. You weren't speaking that it's yours, right? You may have been trying to reason with it. You may have allowed other people to tell you, but it's okay. That's good enough. Nobody on this earth was created to be just good enough, right? Our creator wasn't just a good enough creator. He was perfect and he made all things well. So what does that mean? That you're perfect in his eyes, and everything that you were created to do, he does all things well. So you were made, you were created well. You were created with everything inside of you, right? This isn't a just good enough life. You were created to live just a good enough life. And why am I saying that? Because at the end of the day, what I love that I heard is God can stand for, mind you, it stands for many things, whoever your God is and what that means to you. But God can stand for greatness on display. So God, greatness on display. If God is definitely greatness on display, then why can't that greatness be on display with you? Right? Not mediocrity on display, not just good enough on display. We're talking about greatness on display. And if he is inside of you, and that's what I loved about going to that event that Christopher Terry said, I am is not by mistake. The great I am, he is everything that you want him to be. And if the I am is inside of you, if you truly believe that, then why can't you be anything? Why can't you have everything? That's why I am Jasmina. I am greatness on display. Because that's what's inside of me. That's who created me. And I have decided that I'm not going to allow myself to fall short of anything less than that. So you have to ask yourself on this journey, what are you putting on display? Just enough? Because that's the life you're going to get. Are you settling for falling short of your goals? Because then that's what you're going to have. And just be okay with your decision because you chose that, right? You chose that. It is true what they say. You can't choose the life that you're born into, but you can't choose if you're born broke, but you can choose if you die broke. You didn't choose the family that you decided, you didn't choose the family that you were born into, but you can choose to be who you were created to be and not what other people say that you are. Not what people who didn't create you say that you are. How is it that we allow people that had no, and I'm not talking about our parents, but I'll get to that in a second. How is it that we allow people that had no hand in creating us, that had no hand in our purpose, that had no hand in our value, that had no hand in giving us the strength and the power to achieve all things and to have all things? Why do we allow those type of people then define who we are? Make us nervous to be who we are, right? They can't give you any kind of special miracle working power, nothing. But yet we allow people to define us when they didn't put in on creating you. They didn't put in on creating anything that you are about to go after. And I mean that in the spiritual sense, right? I mean that in the spiritual sense. So if we really only have one person to please, then that is what we need to focus on. Now, that doesn't mean that you're just a jerk to everybody else. That doesn't mean that you just dismiss other people. But what the greats have in common, is they understood who they were created to be, and they didn't allow anything to tell them any differently. They didn't allow life circumstances, what they were born into, to tell them any differently. They didn't allow any of that to derail their success, right? Because they became their own BFF and they started speaking what they needed to speak, the right things that's going to keep them going. And for that, their lives are forever changed. So You have to start asking yourself, is what I'm doing, is it exuding greatness on display? Do I have a routine, right? Because how many of us know not everybody believed that Jesus was who he was, even though he said who he was, even though it was prophesied way before he came that he was going to come. People didn't believe who he was, even when he showed them. But did that change who he was? Did that change who he was created to be? Did that change when people denied him, when people decided to say, this can't be true, that can't be you, you're not him, whatever the case is? And even when he said, I'm going to deliver you, even when he said, watch this, and it's not because he did it to get their approval, he did it because of who he was. He operated in who he was, no matter if they believed what he said anyways. Why? Because at the end of the day, actions are what's going to tell the story. Your results is what's going to tell the story. The fact that not only did he take action, he also had the results for said actions. Therefore, it didn't matter what people decided to call him. It didn't matter what people decided to acknowledge about him. It didn't matter that people decided to deny him. It didn't matter if people wanted to walk with him, right? That didn't matter. Why? Because he still was who he was. He still was about that life. He still was able to allow people to walk on water. He was still able to create a feast out of what? Fish and loaves of bread, a little snack lunch, a little Lunchable? That didn't change who he was. So you have to ask yourself, whatever your name is, are you spending so much time worried about trying to convince people of who you are? Are you just doing the work? Are you just doing the work and allowing the results to carry you through? When they say some will, some won't, some will, some won't, so what? The part that we miss, but some are waiting. Some will, some won't, so what? And some are waiting. Some will, sign them up. Some won't, you'll figure out later. So what? I'm gonna go find the people that want to really take their life to the next level. Some are waiting. Bam, I found my people. Not everybody is your person, right? You have people that are going to be attracted to you. You have people, heck, you even have people that might join your business and then end up resonating with somebody else. Does that change who you are? No. Right? That doesn't change, because once we soon realize in this life, for everything that happens, we're just the vessel and the conduit, we won't take things personal. When we start realizing we're the vessel and the conduit for everything that occurs, for everything that we're going to achieve, and that everything that we have is really just a resource to be able, like I said, a vessel and a conduit, to be able to bless other people. Once we realize that, we won't take these things personal. And once we realize that, we'll operate in our greatness of who we are. Okay? So go ahead, keep those fire emojis coming in the chat if you're still catching value. And I'm gonna go ahead and close with this because we are over time. As you can see, I have notes on notes on notes on notes on notes on notes, y'all. And this isn't the first time I watched her. I watch a lot of people, but I really like her. Okay, so one thing that you can be so happy and grateful for, that you can be thankful for, is that you currently, see, we have it good. We don't have to work as hard as those that came before us. We don't. We don't. We may think it's hard, but it's not nearly as difficult as the Alex Mortons, as the David Monetiers, as the Paris Simmons, as the Charles Dysons. We get to walk in and make money using the Skittle strategy and the TDL strategy. Why? Because somebody put in the time behind the charts and now it's pouring it into you. So we're thinking that this thing is hard. Imagine, could you do it? If you started with Retired in 365 4 years ago, could you? See, when we start saying that this is a lot, these calls are a lot, I have other things that I have to do. That's fine. That just means that you're not there yet. And that is okay. How can you get to that point? Start trusting what your purpose is. Start trusting where you currently are. Find somebody that has the results and start trusting what they say, right? So what we currently do, yeah, it's hard because we've never had to do it, but it's not nearly as hard as those that came before us. So be grateful. Be grateful that you have these morning motivations. Be grateful that you have a strategy. I am was not I am as it is today back then, from what I hear. Things going left, not as many softwares, so you have it easy. If they can make money with the services and products and learn how to trade and become six-figure traders when they had less products back then, what is our excuse now? Not following instructions, not believing, right? Let's just throw it out there. The same company that has been created millionaires from its creation, right? That was created by a nine-figure trader. If people were having results back then, and it was a little harder probably to get results because they didn't have all the bells and whistles. What do we look like in 2021 with 13, not 12, 13 softwares? What do we look like with 13 softwares and 4 apps and we can't make money? So at the end of the day, we just have to take a step back and say, what is it that I'm speaking to myself when I'm not on the Zoom, right? What excuses am I allowing to hinder me? Because I just gave you somebody that had 1 million and 10 million and 1 billion, whatever's after that, excuses. And has been able to now take her story and create over 20 other millionaires, right? As our audio says, this is why you have to be in the information. You have to give back more and use value than you take. And that is what she is doing. And you can do it too. So like I said, I don't know if this is red, but like I said, I'm just passionate because the more and more that I am on this journey, I truly start to I truly start to realize that it's only up. It's only up. It's only up. And if you're somebody that's new to the whole personal growth and self-development thing, that's fine. You have to start somewhere because see, this whole faith thing, I'm not new to that. Retired in 365 has allowed me to enhance what it is that I currently know, right? So you can't mirror your belief off of my belief because my belief is what got me here in the first place. My belief is what caused me to pick up everything and leave California and move to Georgia. My belief is what carried me through. You can't measure your belief off of my belief if this is your day one of believing. That's fine. But how do you get to day 365 of believing? How do you get to 2 years, 3 years, 5 years of believing? By starting day one of really starting to believe. See, a lot of people will say that they believe in themselves, but how you can truly find out how you feel about yourself, quiet your mind and listen to the words that just go around in your head freely. And this is just an exercise. Listen to the things that pop up in your head when it's still, when it's quiet, when you've quieted your mind, there's no noise, and you just sit back, listen to the things that go on in your head and start speaking things that start speaking things that line up with what it is that you want to go against with the things that you still have in your mind that don't go with what it is that you want, right? Because you can tell me you believe, but when you're by yourself and your eyes are closed and you're just quietly listening, that's when you'll know if you really feel like that millionaire. That's when you'll know if you really feel like you're going to impact 5,000 lives. That's when you know that you really are going to be that first millionaire in your family. That's when you know if you're really going to be that generational curse breaker. That's when you know, because it's not what's happening around you. It's who you know who you are inside of you. See, Stormy, it wasn't what was happening around her. It was what she knew was inside of her. That's why over and over again, she was able to create $1 million because she had the mindset of a millionaire before she had the money. That way, she has been able to sustain her lifestyle. I'm done. Javon, it's on you.
Hey, let's go. Drop some fire emojis in the chat. Let's go, let's go, let's go. You can hear the passion. You can see it going on. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Jasmina, for that amazing morning dedication. I hope y'all were taking notes. Got some great takeaways. Look, the thing about it, you can learn from everybody, but what we want to make sure that everybody understands is, right, as you can learn from everybody, as you can take that information, you got to now take it and go apply it into your life, right? Take what it is that you have from the 6, 7, 8-figure mentors, the people that have what it is that you want, and implement that into what it is that you're doing each and every single day. You know, I heard it this way: the hardest part is starting. So once you already start, right, you've already done the hardest part, but that doesn't mean that there won't be other hard parts along your journey, right? That doesn't mean that other hard things won't exist. So you got to know that they're going to keep coming. So you got to keep going, and going, right? So let's not get information overload. We got a lot of information coming in. So what you want to do is, like Jasmina said, keep coming to these calls, right? Keep coming to these calls. You know, you hear from myself, you hear from Paris, you hear from Charles, you hear from all the leaders, is that you want to keep hearing the same information over and over again, because you know what that does? When you come back and you hear the same thing over and over again, you hear the same play being told, you hear the same, look, 12 to 15, right? Help 3 get 3, you hit P1000. When you hear the same thing over and over again, what happens, right? You know that we're still running the same play a year later, 2 years later, 3 years later. So you know it's still working. You're just coming back to check to make sure that you're doing the same thing that we've been telling you to do the whole time. And that's how you can know, okay, wait, what they're saying really works, because people are getting results with it. So I got to keep coming, keep making sure that I'm getting that information. Look, so 50 Travelpreneurs is already done. Ask yourself, what role is it that you're going to play in that 50 Travelpreneurs? What role are you going to play? Are you going to be one of the people that go chairman? Are you going to be one of the people that hit P150, one of the people that hit P1000, right? There's going to be people along all of those ranks to get to that 50 Travelpreneurs, but you got to ask, what role are you going to play? The company will hit 1,000 chairmen. Are you going to be one of the 1,000 chairmen, one of the 50 Travelpreneurs inside of this movement, or are you going to be one of the customers that help them get there, right? It's really that simple. You can be one of the customers, or you can be part of that success. Ask yourself that. Jasmina already went over the book and audio of the month. It's also posted in the announcements. Definitely make sure you go over to the Discord, get that book, and start reading, start listening to the audio, especially for the new individuals. If you've been here and you haven't been listening to it, you haven't been reading the book, definitely make sure you get that today. It will completely change your life. Make sure you're doing your daily methods of operation. Very, very simple. That's how you stay on track with what it is you know you're supposed to be doing each and every single day, because we want it to be up and stuck, right? We want it to be up and stuck. It can be up, but you want it to also get stuck because you want to keep those results as you're going, right? So today we got our Just Run IBO call, right? You definitely want to come here. Our chairman shut this thing down with the skills that you need, right? Like we just talked about, the skills you need to get to that next level. So definitely make sure you're in attendance, 6 o'clock, mark it on your calendar, put an alarm in your phone, make sure that you are there, and go ahead and call the individuals inside of your team, people that you're connected to, anybody that you personally sponsored into this business, right? Make sure that they are on that call because they don't want to miss the information that's being told. And last but not least, make sure that you are in attendance, right? Make sure you get your tickets, but they're almost sold out. Get your tickets for the Believe Nation event, because look, that thing is going to be life-changing, and you want to make sure that you're in attendance, right? If you're not at the next event, you are not in the business. So definitely go ahead, make sure you get that ticket, right? And look, even get some for your team. Get some for the future team that you know is going to be coming into the business, right? Speak life into your organization. If you got 0 people right now, get yourself 3 tickets and say, I'm taking 2 people with me to the event, right? Put yourself in a position to go ahead and grow. So that's all we got. Let me see. I see we got the leaders on here. Paris, Charles, Jasmine, y'all got anything else? Anything else? We good to go? We good to go?
No, thank you so much, Javon. That's it.
Most definitely. All right, let's go. Let's get it. 6 o'clock. That's the next thing.